We've had a lot of strong operators so far released in 2024, and a lot more to come for the rest of the year. So in this video, I will go briefly over the upcoming operators kits and give an evaluation of the banners to help you decide if you should roll it or not. We are starting strong with the Rainbow Six Siege Operation Lucent Arrowhead. This is the second collab event with Rainbow Six Siege. Collab operators used to be known to be true limited in that they don't have reruns and you can't obtain them outside of their event. Until Rainbow Six Siege's first event and banner had a rerun in the CN server. The featured 6-star is Ella and you are guaranteed to get her in 120 rolls. As for the 5 stars, they are Iana and Doc. If you pull one of them, the next one is guaranteed to be the other. Ella is a Trapmaster specialist, but she plays more like a sniper, as it is better to deploy her mines in her range unlike other Trapmaster specialists. She has insane burst damage with her third skill, that she outdamages most of the snipers. And thanks to her module she can be placed on melee tiles. Iana is a dollkeeper specialist, though she doesn't have a doll but instead she creates a hologram that disappears with one attack, so she is not as tanky as other dollkeepers. When the hologram disappears she applies a 20% fragility effect to the attacker. She deals burst damage with her first skill and removes the invisible effects of nearby enemies with her second skill. She is more of a supportive unit unlike other dollkeepers who like to take matters into their own hands. Doc is an instructor guard who specializes in burst healing his allies. His second skill, one-shot healing, is so strong it can recover Surtur's HP to almost full HP, but you can only use his skills 3 times per deployment. And when the HP healed exceeds the max HP, it will be converted into a barrier that constantly and rapidly decays thanks to his second talent. Overall, this banner is highly recommended mainly because Ella is a great operator that we might not get another chance to roll again. And the 5 stars are actually decent with unique kits. Against all odds, and after 3 years we have the first Rainbow Six Siege event, Operation Originium Dust Rerun. Ashe is an anti-air sniper. What makes her different from other operators in her archetype is her second talent, which reduces her DP cost by 3 and grants her 17 SP when first deployed. And with her first module, she is even cheaper to deploy than the 3-star cruise. Her main skill is her second. It activates the stun from her first talent and deals additional damage to stunned enemies. Sadly, the stun doesn't last for the whole skill duration, so her damage falls off after the first 6 seconds. Since her release, she has always compared to Exuzii, so long story short, she is better when the enemy can be stunned and also performs better against high defense enemies than Exuzii. But if the enemy is stun immune and has very low defense, Exuzii wins. Blitz is a sentinel protector like Liskarm, and similar to Ashe he can stun enemies and deal additional damage against them. He stuns and silences the enemies with his first skill, and his second skill stuns and has burst damage. He is a good offensive defender, though he suffers a little from the high SP cost of his skills. Frost is a Trapmaster specialist. Traps with her first skill can bind, and stun with her second skill. She isn't anything special from other Trapmasters. We have the free operator Robin who can fit the same role as her. The operators in this banner have a stun synergy when deployed together, as well as base skill effects. They are strong but not as the second Rainbow Six Siege event operators. They are still limited and I don't think they will have another rerun, so think carefully before skipping this banner. After that, we will have the joint Operation 14 banner coming with Contingency Contract 2 Underdawn. The banner features Jessica the Liberated, Mudrock, Passenger, Poziemka. If you don't have many defenders, Jessica and Mudrock are great, with Mudrock getting a good module recently. Passenger is an okay operator, and Poziemka fell off the meta with all the sniper released either out damaging her, having more range, or both. As for the 5 stars, Elysium and La Plume are top tier, Hibiscus the Purifier and Asbestos are in the middle of the line, while Spuria and Wind Chimes are straight up bad. So, in conclusion, this is a hit or miss banner. Jessica is the real prize here. Mudrock, while being strong, she has a high DP cost, and in the long run, when you eventually have more options, you will find yourself using her less and less. Passenger have the same problem as her, and Poziemka is very strong and reliable if you are lacking a ranged boss killer. As for the 5 stars, there are too many of them, making it hard to get the one you want. I don't recommend you rolling this banner, mainly because the 2 upcoming banners have better value. Next is the Babel event main banner. The 6-star is Escalon. She is an ambusher specialist, and she is the best in her archetype. Thanks to her talent, when she attacks an enemy she will reduce its movement speed and inflict arts damage over time. She is one of those rare operators where all her skills are viable. Her first skill is the next attack deals damage with 3 charges, and it is perfect for dealing with a lot of enemies. Her second skill decreases the movement speed of enemies and increases her attack. And her third skill increases her range and self-taunt while reducing the physical and arts accuracy of ground enemies within attack range. If the enemy misses an attack, she will recover some HP. Her module slows the enemies within her range and increases the damage and the duration of the overtime from her talent. She has all what makes the other ambushers good in her kit. As for the 5 stars, Aroma is a blast caster. She can levitate the enemy for 2.5 seconds and deals extra damage when first attacking it. Her first skill is the next attack deals damage with 3 charges, and deals additional damage to aerial enemies. Her second skill increases her attack and deals additional damage to levitated enemies within her range when the levitation effect ends. The levitate from her talent is nice, but it activates only once for each target. Other than that, her damage is abysmal and she costs 33 at Elite 2, not to mention the awkward and situational range of her archetype. The other 5 star is Cantabile, one of the best 5 stars in the game. And the 4 star is Lutenata, a Juggernaut defender. She recovers 22% HP when an enemy blocked by her is killed. Her first skill is the next attack deals damage, and her second skill increases her range in defense. She stops attacking and deals arts damage every 2 seconds and drags unblocked enemies towards herself with small force. The problem with her is she doesn't serve any role well, and her high DP cost hinders her even more. The only reason to roll for this banner is Ascalon, and she suffers the same fate as Hoderer being in the banner before a limited operator's banner. Sure, she is a strong operator, but she is nowhere near the level of operators in the next limited event banner. But before that, there will be a banner up in parallel with this one. And it's the front that was event banner. It follows the same rule as a joint operation banner. It means that the only 6 stars you can get are the ones featured in the banner. The 6 stars are Stainless, Ines, and Hoderer. Ines, in my opinion, is the best vanguard in the game. She generates a lot of DP, binds and reveals invisible enemies, reduces their movement speed, and her attacks are strong and from a safe distance. Hoderer is a strong lane holder with attack and HP but no defense. This makes him harder to heal, but he has some form of survivability in his skills, so it balances out. He is a decent operator, but not having him won't impact your account. And the same can be said about Stainless. Overall, this banner would have been a good chance to roll for Ines if not for its timing. The next banner is Episode 14 Arknights CN's 5th anniversary event, and it is a bit of a controversial one. The limited 6 star is Wissadel, and the other 6 star operator is Logos. Both of them count as 70% of 6 stars. The other limited 6 stars featured are Mulesize, Texas the Omertosa, and Spectre the Unchained. They have 5 times the weight in the rest of the 6 stars. And the 5 star is Fang the Fire Sharpened. In this banner, you are guaranteed to get the limited operator Wissadel after 300 rolls, which means you don't have to worry about sparking her, and instead, you can use the spark on another limited operator in the spark shop. When I said controversial, I was talking about Wissadel, or W-Alter, and the reason that makes some people not like her is how stupidly unbalanced she is. Sure, we've had some broken operators like Texas Alter, Surtur, M-Linar, Chen Alter, but none of them felt like using a nuke button. Of course, power creep is a natural progression of a character-based game like Arknights, but this one is pretty steep. I'm not going to give my opinion any further than this, so let's see her kit. She is an Aftershock sniper. Her first talent has a 15% chance of doing extra damage and stunning enemies. And her second talent summons a Shadow of Revenant within attack range after deployment. When near a Shadow of Revenant, she gains camouflage. Her third skill summons 2 more Shadows of Revenant, massively increasing the attack and attack interval. Attacks now deal 220% damage. The splash area is greatly increased and her first talent activation is guaranteed. This skill has 6 ammo. So to break it down, not only has her attack increased by 180%, but her attacks deal 220% damage, and it is accompanied by the talent damage boost and stun. The splash area is now massive, so everything around the target will explode as well. Also, this skill allows her to hit aerial enemies, something other operators in her archetype can't do. The Shadows of Revenant are not just for show, they can attack alongside her, give her camouflage and taunt enemy attacks. Overall, she is the most overturned operator in the game. But she is not the only strong one in this banner. Logos is a core caster. His first talent has a 40% chance to attack another random target within attack range and slow them. His first skill is an infinite duration skill that expands his range and increases his attack. Enemies within attack range with HP lower than 150% of Logos' attack are instantly killed, and arts damage equal to the killed enemy's HP is dealt to a random target. His second skill grants him plus 70 arts resistance and locks onto a target, dealing damage every half a second. When attacking the same target, damage gradually increases and the target's movement speed gradually reduces. His third skill, Expand Attack Range, increases his attack and attacks 4 targets simultaneously, greatly reduces the flight speed of all enemy projectiles within attack range, and clears them when the skill ends. All his skills are powerful, but what makes him tiers above other casters is his module that allows him to deal necrosis damage. It increases his damage tremendously, and will enable him to kill enemies with high HP and arts resistance easily. The 5-star operator for this banner is Fang the Fire Sharpened, and she is like a mini bagpipe. Her first skill is, next attack deals damage twice, and if the enemy is defeated it generates 1 DP. It can also hold 3 charges. Her second skill is a passive that lasts 20 seconds and increases attack and defense, block count +1. Attack multiple enemies equal to block count. What makes Fang stand out from others in her archetype is her talent with the module. Her deployment cost is reduced by 4. After she is retreated, the next operator has a -2 deployment cost. As for the other limited operators, Texas Alter is one of the best operators in the game, and it is a huge asset to your account if you manage to get her, and it is very worth it to spark for her if you are planning on doing that. Needle Size can be a strong operator depending on what other operators you have, and Spectre Alter offers a lot of utility, crowd control, damage, and tanking enemies. Overall, this banner is very much worth your savings. You can't go wrong with any of the featured operators. You are guaranteed Whistle and 300 rolls plus a spark for another limited operator, so it might be the best limited banner ever to be released. After this insane banner comes the Joint Operation 15 banner. The 6 stars in this banner are Typhon, Read the Flame Shadow, Kyubi, Calcit. Kyubi might be outshined by Thorns and Silverash, but she is still a strong Lord Guard. She can bind enemies and deal arts damage. As for Typhon, Read Alter, and Calcit, all of them are top tier operators, so unless you have 2 or more of the 6-star operators in your account, it's highly recommended to roll.